Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I as always am Grestar and this is another reaction to a death battle, Thor versus Vegeta. As always, the link to the original is in the description below. So we have Thor from Marvel Comics versus Vegeta from Dragon Ball. So I have had to think like long and hard about this matchup. A lot of the other matchups recently, I've had like a leaning going into it. And like, you know, once I heard the matchup, I was just like, I think it's gonna be this person, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, but Thor versus Vegeta, I've gone back and forth in my head about this particular one. And so I want to start by saying that this death battle will contain spoilers for Hulk versus Broly. So if you haven't watched my reaction to that death battle, or if you haven't watched that death battle in general, you should go do so. I have a handy dandy death battle playlist. You should go check that out. But so I'm gonna spoil that here as I'm talking about my thoughts on this one, right? Because I'm trying to make a prediction already going into this. So if I had to guess right now, I would lean toward Thor being the victor. And this is why. It's mostly because of the Hulk versus Broly death battle that we watched before. And now you might be wondering, if your opinion right now, like your prediction is largely based on the outcome of Hulk versus Broly, why do you think that Thor will win? Because if you don't recall, Broly is the winner of Hulk versus Broly. Here's why. So, as far as I remember, one of the biggest things in Broly's favor during that death battle was him going up against Blue Gogeta, or, you know, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Gogeta. Vegeta is not Gogeta, you know, Vegeta is part of Gogeta, but like, the whole point of the fusion of Gogeta, you know, fusing Vegeta and Goku, is a huge boost in power. And so, if they're scaling like Broly to Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, I don't think Vegeta alone can stand up to that. And I think that that was like the big thing that pushed Broly over the edge against Hulk. I could be completely wrong. Of course, as always, this is just where my thought process has been. And so if it's flawed, but that's, I just, you know, I work with what I have to work with. But then I'm pretty sure that Thor was rivaling Hulk in terms of strength. I swear I have heard that somewhere. You know, and Thor has been in death battles previously, and so I assume that's where, but I swear that Thor has rivaled Hulk in terms of strength. And so, if Hulk was really quite close to beating Broly, at least close enough that like, because again, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta is such a big leap in terms of power just compared to like Super Saiyan God, you know, Goku fighting Beerus, that kind of thing, which I believe, I'm bringing this up because I think they brought that up in the Hulk versus Broly fight as well, and then mentioned at the conclusion, like, Blue Gogeta is just such a big jump. That I'm thinking that Thor could beat Vegeta standalone. And another thing that came to mind was, what about Ultra Ego Vegeta, right? I have not seen Dragon Ball Super. I haven't seen any Dragon Ball Super. I mean, for those who are interested, as far as where I am in the anime is concerned, I have just started the Majin Buu saga, basically, of Dragon Ball Z. Like, I got through all of the Great Saiyaman stuff. So Videl can fly now. They just arrived at the tournament, and Goten got to meet his dad for the first time. That's exactly where I am in the anime. That's the last episode I saw, was Goten meeting Goku for the first time. And then like it, you know, closed off basically there. So I don't know exactly what Ultra Ego can do. I'm pretty sure it's about the same as Ultra Instinct. My understanding is it's the same as Ultra Instinct, but basically achieved in the opposite way. And to my knowledge, Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct don't provide an actual power boost. It's more just like the, you know, autonomous fighting, you know? Or like, where you don't have to think, or again, Ultra Ego, it's like different, but it ultimately is the same thing, but it's the opposite somehow, you know? Or it's like Goku relinquishes everything, and Vegeta just has like full control over everything. It's probably butchering that. People in the comments can let me know, or let other people know exactly how that stuff works, but the point of this is really just saying, I don't think that that has to do with power, really. I don't think it's a boost in power. I think it's separate from, like, the Super Saiyan forms, you know? So in terms of Super Saiyan forms, I think that Blue, or Blue Evolved, again, is, like, the most that we're looking at. And not to say that's not powerful, because it absolutely is. Because, again, like, if you're looking at what Super Saiyan God Goku was able to do in the fight against Beerus, where when they punched, like, a ripple was sent across the universes, and I think threatened to destroy something. It's hard to say. I don't remember all that much. It's just, like, and then that was, And then, like, Goku later, that became his base form, apparently, or, like, his base power was that God Goku, and then, so that going into Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan will be a whole other thing. I don't know. I just want you all to know that I have been trying really hard to think about this, and you might also be paying attention to the fact that I haven't said much about Thor, because I really don't know a whole lot about Thor. I know, again, like, that he's powerful. I just don't know how much. I just thought that he was rivaling Hulk in strength, and again, Broly with Gogeta, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm thinking Thor right now, but I'm very much on the fence and could be swayed to fall into Vegeta's lawn. You know what I mean? So, with that, let's get to watching. I am looking forward to this death battle if that wasn't obvious. Thor versus Vegeta, take it away.
The God of Thunder.
And Vegeta.
If I had to pick who I wanted to win, I would want Vegeta to win. I like Thor, but I really only like Marvel movie Thor. I don't know comic book Thor, you know? I don't know cartoon Thor. I only know the movie Thor, and I like him, but this isn't... They're not using movie Thor, so I'd rather Vegeta win. As much of a narcissist as he can be.
Thunder cracks, the heavens rumble, lightning blinds your eyes. You look up to the sky and pray for mercy because Thor is angry.
Oh
well,
no!
You would have if you were a Viking. Nowadays, we don't have time for missing legends.
Oh, don't we? For in the modern mythology of Marvel Comics, the Norse god of thunder was reborn.
That's
And
right,
I
he
wager
was.
This Thor is a hell of an upgrade.
The son of the All-Father Odin, Thor lived the life of a warrior prince, battling all manner of magical foe for thousands of years.
Good for him.
It is, until he got a little too big for his britches. So to teach him a lesson about humility and compassion and whatever, Odin exiled him to the worst place in the universe. New York.
No!
You hate to see it.
Thor's Asgardian body is immensely durable, immune to disease, and capable of healing far faster than any mortal man.
He's also the literal god of strength. We're talking lifted a planet-sized serpent
It
strong.
says invulnerability.
Knocking out the Phoenix Force strong.
What?
Arm wrestling with Hercules and almost throwing the Earth out of orbit strong.
Notably, he was once blasted with a graviton bomb,
Okay.
which subjected him to the gravity of a neutron star. That's over 200 billion times greater than Earth's gravity.
And
Oh.
he's got the stamina to match. Nice. Able to fight for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping.
And what better weapon for the god of storms to wield than a sentient cosmic storm? Eons ago, the almighty god Tempest rampaged through the universe.
Okay.
It arrived in Asgard, and after a pitched battle, Odin managed to trap it within a block of the magical ore Uru that he would forge into his son's hammer, Mjolnir.
Really?
What more can be said about this beautiful thing? Forged in the heart of a dying star that went supernova and killed the dinosaurs, Mjolnir is maybe my favorite.
Is that how that
thing ever.
happened?
He can channel bolts of lightning, manipulate the
Poor
weather,
dinos.
open portals to other dimensions, and absorb and redirect energy attacks. Or just suck it out of your body against your will like what this radiation do.
Really?
Presence. Not gonna be present for much longer, bud.
He's even used 2 Mjolnirs to absorb the power of the god.
There are
Bomb,
2
which would have
Mjolnirs?
killed every deity in existence across time and space.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. Mjolnir can transmute
I'm interrupting
the
too
elements,
much,
turn Thor
and, like, I know
invisible
I'm missing
and
important
intangible,
things.
Let him travel through time and even bring people back to life.
Wow.
And if Thor wants to fly, all he has to do is take it for a spin. Literally, he throws that motherfucker as hard as he can and holds on for dear life.
And when he does, it flies fast enough to cross the entire galaxy in seconds.
Only one problem. It's a little teeny. Unlike Thor's big-ass axe,
There's
our
nothing wrong
Mjolnir,
with that,
it's
though.
sharp enough to cut through celestial armor, and it's unbreakable, and an axe. Okay,
Yeah?
look, it doesn't have a galaxy storm inside it, but it's still pretty cool. Oh shit, look, Wiz, I'm worthy.
No, you're not. There's no enchantment on the axe.
Well then what the hell am I gonna do with this?
Oh.
Should he face an enemy beyond
Well,
the likes
then.
of even his world-shattering strength, Thor can harness his inherent godly power into one single ultimate attack, the God Blast.
Okay.
God is right. Even Galactus, the devourer of worlds, shit his pants and bounced at the sight of such an awesome attack. Jesus, even the Avengers seem pretty small potatoes compared to this guy. Why'd he even bother with them?
Because not every problem can be solved by hitting it really hard.
Bullshit.
That was the point of Odin's lesson, to force his headstrong son to confront a world more complex and nuanced than his millennia of battle had prepared him for. Thor had to be more than a warrior, he had to be a hero.
He's battled Thanos, the Silver Surfer, and even the Sentry.
The Sentry is strong enough to contend with the World Breaker Hulk, a being strong enough to destroy
Maybe
the
this is
Marvel
what I
universe
got
over
from.
100 times over.
And fast enough to demolish Ares, the Greek god of war.
Oh,
who can
God.
fight in the span of plank time. That's like the tiniest amount of time that we can imagine. There are as many planks in a second as there are grains of sand on Earth. Oh wait, did I say Earth? I meant 10 million billion Earth.
Thor has tanked disintegration beams trying to tear apart his atoms one by one, survived Mephisto trying to consume his soul, and even withstood a temporal rift that aged normal people to dust.
Oh, he's
Okay.
a hard bastard to kill, and even nastier when he loses his temper.
By entering a state known as Warrior's Madness, Thor commits an unpardonable sin in Asgardian society and willingly sacrifices his sanity for a tenfold increase in power.
Yeah,
Wow.
despite being a really sweet lunk that talks like he's in Masterpiece Theater and dresses like he's in What's Opera Doc, Thor has struggled with being worthy of his father's legacy and throne. But no matter what unbelievable shit Marvel throws at him, Thor always rises to the occasion. Take the time this big machine called the World Engine was controlling Yggdrasil, the world tree that connects 10 universe-sized realms.
The World Engine's purpose was to mechanically trick Yggdrasil into disrupting the natural flow of Ragnarok, the end of the world.
So Thor just pushed it and literally reversed the flow of fate.
Oh.
That's right. He outmuscled a giant multiversal tree and prevented Armageddon.
Interesting.
Not a bad Saturday.
And he'd go a step further and defeat the mysterious elder gods that manipulated the cycle of Ragnarok in the first place, ending it forever. So perhaps now when you look up at the thundering sky, you won't fear the god's capricious wrath.
Because you'll know it's just Thor, the god of thunder, kicking ass and saving the day.
Sure, yeah, sure. So again, I feel bad for how much I know I
Vegeta,
mist, but
home to the bloodthirsty warrior race
feel like I
known
got a
as
lot,
the Saiyans,
like real
and
powerful
named
stuff.
for their mighty leader, King Vegeta. Noting the Saiyans' proficiency in genocide, the alien emperor King Cold and his son Frieza contracted them to be their personal hit squad, conquering worlds in their name.
But when Frieza felt these monkeys were getting a bit too uppity for their own good, he nuked them in their whole planet.
The king was dead, leaving his young son, the Prince Vegeta, alone. Burning with a grudge against Frieza for wounding his ancestral pride, Vegeta awaited the moment he could extract his revenge.
As one of Frieza's former top enforcers, Veggie was trained from birth to be one of the greatest warriors in the universe.
It helps that planet
Never
Vegeta
seen any
had
of
a
that
gravity
stuff.
10 times greater than that of Earth's, making his natural physiology significantly stronger and more durable than
Oh,
the
interesting.
humans.
As in making the whole friggin' Earth shake just by throwing hands.
And like all Saiyans, Vegeta can harness his ki, or inner life force, as a physical energy to make him even stronger, faster, and tougher than that.
Or
Right.
literally shoot it at your opponent to blow him to kingdom come. That's right, Vegeta can point and click a planet out of existence with his soul. Man, that's hardcore.
He can use ki to fly at faster than light speeds, slice you to pieces with an energy blade, and even hold you in place with energy rings.
So, let's be real. Vegeta's favorite attacks can be summed up with big ass laser.
Yeah.
He's got the purple big ass laser, two-handed big ass laser, rapid fire big ass laser, exploding ball big ass laser, and fucking omnidirectional your ass is grass big ass laser. Though I gotta say, my favorite is the mouth wide open vomit big ass laser. Though that's more of a Nappa thing.
Yeah, and I don't think
Kinda
it's
like
really
that.
laser when it's like the spherical thing, you know, Final Flash stuff. That's
Impressive
Also a
ki
nice
mastery,
reference.
Boomstick.
It hurts when I breathe.
Vegeta's most terrifying ability, however, is the one inherent to his Saiyan biology.
Where when they
Whenever a
get
Saiyan
near death,
survives
they-
a life or
yeah.
death struggle, their power increases exponentially. That's what Frieza was so terrified of. The Saiyan's infinite evolutionary
which,
potential.
why don't they just
Oh, it's
constantly
no wonder
force
Vegeta
themselves to that
eventually toppled
point?
the alien tyrant with the help of another surviving Saiyan, Kakarot.
Like, that would be
And
the
with
easiest
Frieza's
way to
defeat at the
train,
hands of
is
this
just to
Earthbound Super
keep
Saiyan,
almost
Vegeta had a
dying.
new rival and a new goal.
Become blonde! No battle required. Vegeta can harness the rage of his Saiyan heritage and transform into a Super Saiyan 2, and a Super Saiyan 2!
But try as he might, Vegeta struggled to keep up with Goku's ever-increasing power.
I guess it doesn't help that Veggie is maybe the single cockiest bastard
Also,
to ever have
like,
existed.
yeah, that's
sure,
right. That's
dude,
what.
let's
If
sell
you didn't
the
know,
gun
that's what this
perfect.
was the whole time. It's
We'll be
Majin.
fine. Hope your spine is doing all right. dumbass.
Though Vegeta did manage to accomplish something that even Goku couldn't do on his own, becoming a god.
Once he and Goku met the god of destruction, Beerus, they had a whole new lineup of martial artists to conquer, with some angelic training to boot.
With Spirit Fission, Vegeta can forcibly absorb an opponent's ki with every strike.
And he even learned Goku's patented instant transmission, allowing him to teleport huge distances.
But most importantly, with God Ki, he can go even further beyond and become a Super Saiyan God. A Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, and a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolved.
Right.
His power got completely insane. The dude was strong enough to destroy the Room of Spirit and Time, an entirely separate dimension, just by powering up.
When Goku fought Beerus, he nearly destroyed the universe. And that was the very first time he ever went Super Saiyan God.
Considering we've measured Dragon Ball's Universe 7 to be up to 13 times bigger than our own, he'd need to be punching with that much more energy to bust it. And since the shockwaves of their punches traveled across the universe in seconds, Goku would have had to be punching that fast too.
And that's not accounting for Vegeta's training in various exponential transformations. When an amount of power is measured by how many universes it can destroy, that power itself becomes incomprehensible.
Yeah, more or
We're not
less.
done. Vegeta can tap into the same monstrous energy Beerus has, destruction energy. And when he does, he can perform Hakai and erase your ass from existence entirely. It erases you physically, spiritually, and even temporally, as in it wipes you from time itself.
Such is the might of a god of destruction.
I forgot about all those
But when
bits.
Vegeta wants to go one step beyond, he seizes that very power. He becomes a warrior fueled only by lust for battle. He becomes Ultra Ego.
If Vegeta's head wasn't big enough before, his Widow's Peak probably has its own zip code by now.
As the offensive counterpart to Goku's Ultra Instinct,
Right.
Ultra Ego Vegeta is a veritable juggernaut, able to absorb any hits that come his way and return them even stronger.
It's wild this guy has a Napoleon complex. He's one of the biggest badasses ever to exist.
In a way,
he does have a
failing to
weird
beat Goku
issue.
was probably the best thing for him. Vegeta's whole life was spent rebelling against the humiliation of his race, trying to prove his worth by being the best. By contrast, Goku's self-improvement was never stunted by his ego and insecurities. In realizing that, Vegeta became more than a fighter, but a husband and a father as well, willing to sacrifice himself for what mattered most.
And Vegeta got a taste of that himself when he hooked up with Bulma for some Super Saiyan sexy time. Getting to beat Frieza's golden ass probably didn't hurt either. He may not always win, but he'll never be put down for long. So be sure to practice your groveling, because this is one prince you don't want to piss off.
They definitely have some things that don't line up
Alright,
between the
that's
two,
our
like
set.
Thor's and
We've run the data
Vegeta's.
through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle! And pause. Okay, so it is tricky. It is tricky. Here, just to be like upfront, I am still in Thor's favor right now, but it is tricky. I think the trickiest thing right now for me is the God Ki itself, you know? Because they were talking about the God Ki and how it could, like, it destroys you physically, it destroys you it just erases you physically, spiritually, and temporally. And I was trying to think about, like, counters for that, ways that Thor could survive it. And I know that, like, he's resisted, I don't remember who was, like, trying to eat his soul. He's resisted, like, being disintegrated. And so that's, like, the physically and the spiritually part. I don't know about Thor and, like, dealing with temporal erasure, you know? And so I have concerns about that if I'm leaning toward Thor, which, you know, I am. I'm in Thor's camp right now. I think that's one of Vegeta's biggest strengths at this point. Aside, of course, from just being ridiculously strong, too. I'm a little less concerned about that, though, because, yes, like, again, because I talked about this at the beginning of this video, but, like, Super Saiyan God Goku punching Beerus, and that almost destroyed the universe, that ripple. And I was keeping in mind that the universe is bigger than ours. I didn't remember it was 13 times bigger specifically, but I did remember that it was bigger. And so if we're saying that, like, you know, now there's Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, and then Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolved, and then even just growing, like, your base form since, you know, Goku first went Super Saiyan God, like, Vegeta's much stronger, and I think could do far more than, like, with a single punch, than just almost destroy the universe. He probably could destroy it several times over, sort of thing, right? But we also have that with World Breaker Hulk. where he could destroy multiple Marvel universes several times over. And I don't know how the Marvel universe compares to our universe, but even if it's just the same size as our universe, I mean, I guess I don't have the numbers to say if it's more than Vegeta's, if it's less than Vegeta's, or if it's the same as Vegeta's. So I guess for now, I'll just say that they cancel each other out, and let's not focus on that as the thing that's going to win this battle. One thing that I do wonder about is Thor being able to absorb energy. Now, this is life energy, and the whole thing about ki is that that is life energy. And so, could Thor absorb Vegeta's ki? Because that would be a pretty big thing. There have already been, like, enemies in Dragon Ball that can absorb ki. That's their whole shtick. You know, like you had Android 19. I'm pretty sure it's 19. 19 was the Marshmallow Man, right? But, you know, they absorbed energy through their palms. That was a big thing, like it was absorbing Goku's energy, because Goku's having all these heart problems at the time. You know how Goku is. But Vegeta just came and like tore that android's hands off, so it couldn't do that anymore. After it had absorbed some of his ki, he was still able to do all that. So it's not like he's a stranger to his energy being absorbed, and he just has so bloody much of it. But it is a thing, like, because I don't know what Thor's energy consumption rate is, or absorption rate. I don't know how quickly he can absorb it. I don't know if there's like a limit to his absorption. So I don't know how much I could play into it. I also feel like there was something that Vegeta could do that was similar to that, but I don't have any specifics. I don't know if I actually heard that or if I was just waiting to see if it happened. Like, I just genuinely don't remember. So right now, I'm inclined to say that that's in Thor's favor, just the possibility of that. Even if he can absorb ki, though, I don't know if he can absorb God ki. So that's its own thing. Thor has apparently time travel shenanigans, which I didn't know about with Mjolnir, and like warping capabilities, like dimensional hopping capabilities, things like that, which like Vegeta has instant transmission, but how that works is you have to focus on someone's ki and then you can just teleport to them, and yeah, it can be across like a galaxy or whatever. I don't actually know the extents of it. I just know that Goku has done that. Like, he traveled to Namek and was like, hey, we need a new god, can one of you, and then, oh, take Dende, you know? And that was early-ish. That was in the Cell Saga of Dragon Ball Z, and so obviously they're stronger and super and can do more. But I don't know how much more instant transmission would be, like, upgraded. I don't know if it could go between dimensions, for instance. Like, I don't think it could, because I don't think you could, like, do that into the room of, like, Spirit and Time, or whatever it's called. I thought it was Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Is that a different thing? Or is that just between, like, English and Japanese? Whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know if it can go between dimensions, so if Thor goes to another dimension with Mjolnir, can Vegeta follow him? I don't know. That would be a weird way to end a battle. Like, it wouldn't end that way, but I'm just wondering if Thor would be able to use that to his advantage. Thor has also fought all of these Elder Gods. His axe was able to cut through Celestial armor, and Celestials were a pretty big deal. And I think one of the biggest things in Thor's favor is his movement speed, because Vegeta is able to move faster than light. Much faster than light, I would dare say. I don't know how much faster, but faster. But Thor is as well. Like, when he was flying around, he was able to cross the entire galaxy in, you know, a matter of seconds. That's very fast. And then another thing is when he's fighting that one guy whose name I don't remember, but he was like, he was fighting, or at least the one guy was capable of fighting at like the Planck second. Or not the Planck second, but, you know, the planks. And so I would think that Thor would have to as well if he were to keep up with that guy. That's what I got from them saying that, because I don't know why else they would bring that up. And then another thing that I think is important is, like, Vegeta has been training for a long time, ever since he was a kid. Thor has been fighting for thousands of years. And so, like, again, his whole arc that I say again because they mention it in the video, wasn't like become the best fighter, it was become a hero. Like, you've been a warrior for too long, now go learn how to do other things in a cool, hospitable manner, you know? And so I don't think that the fighting is really the issue for Thor. Like, he just has way more experience, I assume, against a much wider variety of foes too, given his existence within, like, you know, the balance between Marvel Comics and Norse mythology, that kind of thing. Just a lot to play with there. So, I could be wrong as always, but it seems to me that Thor has the speed advantage and, like, the reaction advantage, it seems his stuff is more versatile in terms of what he can do with Mjolnir and his own, like, you know, lightning abilities and things like that. But just, you know, manipulating time, going through dimensions, it's just, his can do more. And, like, the energy absorption, you know, because what can Vegeta do with Ki? It's just, like, different variations of basically the same thing with his different, like, the Big Bang attack, or the Gallic Gun, or Final Flash. Like, it's all just how much Ki is he pumping out. It's not that they accomplish different things, it's just they're more destructive. But if Thor can handle his most destructive attack, which I'm inclined to say that he can, given the things that Thor's been up against, then I don't know what Vegeta could do. Whereas, like, Thor, I guess here's another thing. Thor can fight for like 40 days and 40 nights straight. I don't know that Vegeta's ever proven he's capable of that same kind of stuff too. Because, like, he's had training in, like, the time chamber, but we didn't get to see what that really entailed. I don't know what he was, like, because, like, he was just in there with Trunks, and then I think he went in there alone on a second time. And so, if Trunks was his biggest opponent, it's not that Trunks is weak, but Trunks is no Thor, you know? At least at the time. Yeah, I don't know where Trunks is now. So I don't know about that, but I also don't know what Thor was fighting against for those 40 days, 40 nights. So I don't know. But he's not lacking in stamina at the very least. Just if I had to make a decision now, I would wager that Thor could kill Vegeta where Vegeta would struggle more with it. So I think, again, the biggest thing in Vegeta's favor, I think it's the God Ki, because it might be able to supersede some of Thor's, like, resistances or immunities. But with Thor's, you know, basically invulnerability, I just think that he can take what Vegeta has to dish out overall. So I'm going to say Thor is going to win this one, and play. Of course, we'll find out. Pretty rude, my guy, pretty rude.
Oh there, mighty warrior. What business havest thou upon earth?
Throw that hammer at me again, and my business will be polishing my gloves upon your face!
Oh, rude.
Didst that count?
He's just having a good time. I wasn't expecting that music. Which, by the way, hopefully doesn't get blocked, but if it does, I'll just have to probably remove it again or something.
Fightst well for a mortal. Alas, you face a god.
He's fought gods before. I'm still rooting for you, Thor, I'm just saying. It's gone.
I have evolved beyond gods. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans, and you can burn in hell! Big Bang attack!
He doesn't have Vegeta's voice quite right how I know it, but I like the... It has the qualities there. Like that angry rasp that I like of his. And there's Ego.
Tell me, does a god such as yourself feel fear?
I bet he could. That's some cool stuff. I also just remembered his whole, like, he could go insane for a 10-fold power boost.
All you will feel is oblivion!
Oh?
Feel heaven's wrath!
That was cool. That was really cool. And he's still there. Is he insane? He might. That's a movie reference. Which might in itself have been a reference. Oh! Ah! That was a brutal way to go.
Oh, I get it.
Gosh.
Thor won because he's a natural blonde.
Despite Vegeta's immense power and tenacity, the God of Thunder had him outmatched in several key areas.
First off, the big one, who was stronger.
Despite
Okay,
being
there
up
we go then.
against the God of Strength, Vegeta actually matched up pretty closely with Thor.
Okay.
Both could output power far in excess of destroying a single universe.
Right,
It's
yeah.
always tough to get an exact number for Dragon Ball Super's most powerful characters, but we can combine the size of Universe 7 with multipliers from Vegeta's transformations to get a rough estimate.
It's important to note that Ultra Ego's power boost has never been stated.
So it
But
does
we
have
do
a
know
power
that
boost.
Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta were roughly even in power. When Goku applied a Kaioken times 20 boost to fight Jiren, Vegeta kept up after going Blue Evolved, implying
Okay.
that both increases in
Interesting.
power are roughly the same increase. Similarly, Blue Vegeta matched base Top, and needed Blue Evolve to keep up with Top's God of Destruction form, which is extremely similar to Ultra Ego in theme and purpose. Given this is the best current example of a measurable form akin to Ultra Ego, we can assume that Ultra Ego's boost in power, at least initially, could be extremely similar in terms of a percentage increase, making
Okay.
Ultra Ego's original state about 20 times more powerful than Blue Evolve.
That's cool.
With that in
All right.
mind, Vegeta at his peak could destroy a universe roughly 260,000 times over.
Wow.
And Thor was pretty close to that. Taking a look at the Marvel Universe's size, which has a radius of at least 1 trillion light years, as well as scaling to the Worldbreaker Hulk, Thor ended up only about 10 times stronger.
Not terribly
Okay.
different, and it's definitely possible Vegeta's power could increase during the fight to match it.
But even if he was stronger, it wasn't the only thing that mattered. Ultra Ego's damage absorption could only do so much against an opponent like Thor.
Vegeta may have trained as a warrior from birth, but Thor has been fighting for millennia against a much wider variety of foes, allowing him to adapt to
Cool.
Vegeta fairly easily.
And the fact that Thor was way faster gave him a lot of leeway to use that extra combat experience.
Applying Vegeta's transformation multipliers to the shockwaves from Goku and Beerus' punches, Vegeta should be able to fight at nearly 300 quintillion times the speed of light.
But
pretty
scaling
fast.
to Ares moving within plague time? Thor would be over 70 quadrillion times faster.
More than fast
That's
enough to
faster.
avoid Vegeta's key attacks, and even more importantly, absorb all of them with Mjolnir. This alone
okay.
would shut down all of Vegeta's ranged attacks.
Sure, Veggie could absorb it back with Spirit Vision, but he'd have to hit
Spirit
Thor first.
Vision,
And with
okay.
that much of a speed difference, that's easy.
So there was something about that that I remembered, yeah.
Just will the energy out of somebody, he could just take it right back, and then some.
Even without absorption, Vegeta's key reserves are not infinite, and many of his battles have ended with him at low energy.
Yes.
He was exhausted by the end of the Tournament of Power, which lasted about 1 hour in total.
Meanwhile,
Which
Thor
is not
fought
the
an
40
army for
yeah.
over a month straight.
Theoretically, Vegeta could have ended the fight immediately with Hakai, if not for the fact that Thor has resisted existence erasure before, including physically, spiritually, and temporally.
And
Meanwhile,
temporally.
Vegeta has
Oh,
no way to
the
match
age
God
thing.
Blast, which
Okay.
could have killed friggin' Galactus. And that guy has threatened the infinite multiverse with destruction just as a side effect of his battles.
Oh.
That's a level of power beyond anything we've seen in Dragon Ball yet, let alone Vegeta.
Vegeta was never going to go down easy, but Thor's raw power, speed, and devastating godly abilities were too much for the Prince of All Saiyans.
Vegeta nearly won until Thor blew his mind.
You might say that pun was kind of terrible.
You don't do puns! We've talked about this!
Aw.
My
Come on, now and then.
The winner is Thor.
Claps for Thor. Okay, cool.
Thank you for watching. Stay
You're welcome.
tuned. We'll be jumping into the next matchup next week.
All
you
right.
can always get more Death Battle right now by clicking one of those boxes right over there, and by downloading the battle music linked down below.
Next time on Death Battle, we have Omni-Man versus Homelander. Right? Yeah. I have seen Invincible. I have not seen The Boys. Believe it or not, the Death Battle episode of The Boys, the Battle Royale, did not inspire me to check out the show. It did for a lot of people. And so, like, I guess, you know, for those people, it was successful as an advertisement. It turned me away from it because I was, like, so disappointed with it as a death battle that I just didn't care to, like, see the original. But I did watch Invincible. And so here's the thing. So I knew that this was a death battle first, right? Like, I mean, already. I knew it was a death battle because, you know, at one point I went through the list and I downloaded the death battles just so I would have them ready for the sake of, like, you know, these reactions when I do them. And in case any of them got, like, removed from their YouTube channel due to copyright, etc. I've since gotten them from Rooster Teeth's website itself, but yes. So I was aware that it was a thing, and having seen Invincible and having learned at least a little bit about Homelander from that 7 Battle Royale, I figured that Omni-Man would probably win. I don't know, like, by how much. I'll need to wait to see, but I just want to be honest and say that the result of that one, I think, was spoiled for me. Because I went on the Death Battle Discord server, and I was just hanging out. They were having a game night. They were playing Friday the 13th. And, you know, now and then people would ask questions in chat, and those questions would be posed to the people playing, like, you know, Ben Singer, you know, and they would respond. One of the questions was, like, what's your favorite death in Death Battle? And it didn't occur to me that that was very potentially spoiler territory, because I was like, oh, well, I've seen almost all the Death Battle episodes at this point. But no, someone answered that their favorite death was Homelander's. So, on one hand, my guess that Omni-Man would win seems to be supported by that. They technically might have meant the death that Homelander caused, but I'm pretty sure they meant Homelander dying. So, we will be going into this next one with me assuming that I already know the victor, and I was technically right, but I didn't get to, like, go through it first. So, yeah. So, apologies about that. This is largely why I don't participate in death battle related things, like on the death battle server or whatever, because it's just so easy to run into spoilers, and then once you know something, like, you just know it, right? And yeah. But anyway, that one will be interesting. So let's talk about this death battle. So I was right, yay me. And I'm so glad, like, the conclusion felt so good to listen to because so many of the things I talked about were brought up as far as, like, the energy absorption, Thor being able to withstand a lot of the God Key stuff as far as, like, being erased physically, spiritually. I forgot about the temporally thing. That was what was holding me back, if y'all remember, in my prediction. But apparently, yeah, Thor was able to do that. I was correct in Thor outspeeding him, and while I wasn't as confident about it, I was correct enough that Thor was, like, I was confident enough that Thor was very powerful to, at the very least, cancel that out so neither of them had the strength advantage when I was going through making my prediction. But I definitely saw the possibility. I just didn't know, like, how big the Marvel Universe was, and so I didn't know how they would compare to, like, I mean, I also didn't know how many universes Vegeta was able to, you know, destroy, because they had to do all the scaling with, like, you know, Blue and Blue Evolved and Ego and all that. And, oh, and then the experience thing too. I was very happy when they mentioned that in the conclusion, because it's just a lot of stuff I talked about. And, you know, not only do I want to be right in these predictions, because of course I want to be right. Who wants to make a prediction about something and be wrong when a bunch of people are watching? A bunch, I say, is like, you know, a few thousand, but who might even not watch that far. But the point remains. But I like even more when I'm right for the right reasons. Because if you just want to be right, then you're going to be right at least 50% of the time. I mean, you know, like, just as far as the odds are concerned. But it really feels good when you understand why the person wins. And so I'm always thrilled when that happens, and this just really, it seemed to line up really well for me. So I'm quite pleased with that. I also really enjoyed this animation. I thought this animation, like, it looked good. Like, I thought it was quite visually appealing. I really liked the choreography that they did with it. I thought that things had, you know, this natural growth and progression as far as, you know, Vegeta underestimating him at first and just, like, taking him on in space form. And then gradually moving on up, you know, we got to see Super Saiyan Blue, I assume, evolved at one point, if not right away. And then we got to see Ego at the end. And Thor, he really just has normal himself and then, like, the insane one, which I think we got to see the insane one at the end. But I can't confirm that, I suppose. But it just seemed to flow really nicely. I mean, you even got just Thor making jokes at the beginning, and then by the end, he was very serious, you know? So I really liked it. And while I don't often listen to, like, the soundtracks often just kind of exist in the background for me, and I don't notice them too much. I noticed this one right away just because it kind of surprised me in like the tone that it had, but I liked it. And I think just the sound design in general made it seem like things were pretty impactful in this fight. And I was able to get behind it like really, really easily. So I quite enjoyed this fight. So while it is admittedly a bit of a bummer that Vegeta lost, just because again, between the two, I would rather Vegeta have won. My being happy with having been right and for the right reasons definitely takes precedence over that. So yes, I thoroughly enjoyed this death battle. And before I wrap this up, I actually just want to say really quickly, it's interesting the kind of lore that they're building, like the death battle team, for Wiz and Boomstick, I mean, just throughout the analyses portions, or I guess the episodes as a whole. But like, I don't know if they plan, so a lot of these things are actually somewhat consistent as far as like, you know, the jokes about Boomstick's dad and things like that, or, you know, Wiz having all of these, you know, secrets that he'd rather stay secrets, you know? So I kind of have to assume that these aren't always just throwaway jokes and that they might very well be establishing some sort of, while not important, you know, like in Death Battle universe lore. So it's very interesting, I think, that Boomstick now has control of his ki, and on top of that, is apparently worthy of wielding Mjolnir? Like, Captain America, like, he struggled to be worthy of wielding Mjolnir. Boomstick apparently is? Alright. Like, I guess I misjudged him. I just want to briefly talk about that, that's all. So let me know what you all thought about this death battle in the comments below, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what you thought about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. Then next time, I believe, we will be watching Omni-Man versus Homelander. And then I believe shortly after that is when we'll be watching the next time, which is Gogeta versus Vegeta. So yes, I am excited for these upcoming death battles. So thank you all again so much for watching. And with that, we're calling it here. So have a good one, everybody.